Okay. What's up, Drake and Bryce and Chris? How are you guys? Let's see here. So, Zenmans hit me up with a translation of my emails. Thank you very much, Zenmans. All this Japanese that he hit me up with is fantastic. So, I'm going to send this off and see what I get. Okay, so hold on, I gotta actually find the email address for the studio. What is it? Here it is. I'm going to be composing an email from my Resident Arc email address. I don't know what this is. Never use this. Okay, how do I compose a new email? New message. Sending it to these people. And crap, I probably should have put it Japanese. Dang it. Japanese subject. Maybe I'll call it Resonant Arc. Dang it, I can't believe I didn't think of that. Bryce, I am currently reaching out to Blue Moon Studio, which is where Murayama works, the director and creator of Suikoden. I'm trying to get his personal email address so I can ask him some questions for the research on the video. I did find Zenman's Chocolate Robin. He translated for me, but now I forgot to have him translate a subject. Resonant Arc, YouTube. Oh, crap. Channel. I would rather put something about Murayama. Let's see. Yeah. Dang it, I should have freaking thought of that. Well, in any case, this is the email. Uh-oh. I want it to be written like that. No. Crap. Not including my spaces. Wait. Let's see. I don't know which one is best. One is portfolio. Send this yet. Actually think wait a minute. Oh, fetch, I'm confused. I'm trying to figure out the spacing on this. Hold on. I'm gonna do this differently. It sucks to literally have 0 literacy in this language. Okay. I'll put that first. Then come down and put this next. And come down. Put this next. Come down. This next. Okay, this should correct now. I hope. There. Thing. Some black. Some white. Right, that should be correct. I think this says portfolio link. That word says. So I can either create a link, right? Or if not, I can just put the link in there. What's up, Macadamia? Mike Monafo. Last podcast was pretty heated, no? I guess it got a little bit that way. People still aren't reacting very well to it. I've talked with Kaysen yesterday about the possibility of just not doing the podcast anymore. To be honest, I've just been really disappointed with the way people are responding to it. Rather put my energy into making videos for the channel if that's, you know, that's the way people are gonna respond. But let's see, what am I doing? I'm looking for this. Okay, so the letter is there. Just need a subject. Hello, Dimmick Guy. Nothing crazy happened. It's just a couple of weeks ago, people freaked out about what I said regarding the art design change in what do you call it? Xenoblade Definitive Edition. People were claiming I was saying a lot of things I wasn't saying. They were really just mad that I didn't love it. Can't handle that somebody has a different opinion. So spent a lot of time clarifying this week, trying to find some unity, and people were still just being really, really stupid about it. So I'm not happy. It's not just a few. There's still quite a few. And I got a lot of personal messages, people reaching out pissed off too, like PMs and stuff. Oh, I should ask him right now. Here he is. Hey, real quick. I need to type a subject line. I forgot to leave up on that. Like, query for Mr. Murayama from Resonant Arc. See what he says about that. Hopefully he'll respond, and then we can send this off and see what happens. See if we get a response at all. There's supposed to be a space. There. There we go. Oh, good, I guess. Yeah, I know you guys are right. Like, I know you guys are right. Problem is that I have a personal failing with this. It's very difficult for me to not take stuff personally. It's the reason I've stopped reading. It's the reason I've stopped reading comments on the main channel. Okay, I think this is it. All right, Zenmen's is a beast. Thank you for that. I talked with Kason about it yesterday. I think I'm gonna kind of just sit on it, maybe over the weekend while I'm out of town. See how I feel when I get back. Because it's more than just the fact that I've been disappointed or, you know, it's been depressing to read the responses from a lot of people. It's also just that the podcast is a lot of freaking energy and effort. Like when we first started the Resonant Arc, or the State of the Arc version of the podcast, the idea was that we were going to do research like all week and come really prepared with a topic. And we would both do that. We were also doing the book club at the time and, you know, trying to produce a weekly video on the main channel, and I was working full time and I was trying to do streaming on Twitch daily. There was all this stuff I was trying to do, right? And that led to the burnout, which led to everything that I explained in like the Patreon update, right? Which led to me having to take steps back and, you know, do more personal care, right? So I think what inevitably happened is that the podcast kind of took somewhat of a back seat in that process, and we haven't been doing research on a topic before we do it. So it's just been kind of turned back into stream of consciousness, off the cuff type thoughts on like news events, which isn't really what we wanted it to be in the first place. That's what the Dark Pixel podcast had become, and I didn't like that. And I didn't like that it was becoming really stale and we were repeating ourselves a lot. And essentially, it's exactly what this new podcast has turned into. And to me, it's a question of whether or not I have the time and energy to do the podcast the way I really want to do it. And I don't know if I would rather do that or if I would rather dedicate that extra time to doing a video on the main channel where I think that I do a much better job of expressing myself. I think that I'm much better when I'm not off the cuff. I'm better when I have time to think and script stuff and edit, you know? So that's kind of just where I'm at on my thoughts on it. I'm just going to go ahead and send this, and we'll see what happens. Yes. Bye-bye. Hopefully it doesn't say that I hate his guts, and that Suikoden 2 sucks balls. Hopefully it does not say that. Jacobine! Should add you to the podcast. You should just take over the podcast. You should be the new podcast. You and Chocolate Rob can have your feud as the podcast. Thank you, Macadamia. See, that's what I'm talking about, is that kind of video, the Xenogears video. That's what I really want to be doing, right? Like, that's what I really want to do. Oh. Rob says it may be worth noting that the more like-minded people who are more invested in your opinions are more likely to be listening live and therefore less likely to leave comments later. That's that's a fair point. But, what if I could make something like the Xenogears video once a week? You know what I mean? On the main channel. When we got back to having, like, really frequent uploads again. Every Monday morning, same time, it's very consistent. And it was a video of that quality on the channel every week. Or at least not, if not every week, once every other week, every 2 weeks, something like that. I feel like that would be a better long-term goal than keeping up this podcast, personally. Yes, Macadamia, thank you for saying that. I also have these music projects I want to do, right? I've played this a couple times, but this Final Fantasy VII thing. Like, I want to release some of those on the channel. It'd be cool to have some time to work on that. The Xenogears video underperformed, in my opinion. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. I thought it would do a lot better than it did. Maybe it's just that we've been a little more inconsistent with uploads recently. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was perfect for our channel. People really liked it. Had an amazing like to dislike ratio. Universally loved by everyone who was talking in the comments. Just didn't plug into the algorithm for some reason. I don't think I've seen any bad comments on the Xenogears video. Xenogears video was G. Non-controversial. Anyways, hope that I close that window with the. I think I shared it with Acton. Sorry, this is a work thing I'm looking at right now. I finally finished that video project that I was supposed to have done yesterday. Anyways, it looks like the client really likes it though, so that getting some people wanting me to share it with a couple of other people in their office so they can give some feedback, but at least Boss Man thinks it's good. That was really stressing me out yesterday too. I was supposed to have this thing to them on Tuesday, but I had forgotten about a meeting in Alpine that I had to be to, so I couldn't get them to him on Tuesday. And then I was editing it yesterday, and it wasn't really coming together right. And I was working on it pretty much like all day and all night, and it just didn't feel right yesterday. So I slept on it. And I woke up this morning and like finally the inspiration came to me and I finished it up this afternoon and got it to him. So I think that I'm all set on that project, thankfully. And now I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Wisconsin to shoot stuff all weekend. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to pack my lights or not, or if I should just rent lights while I'm there. But I need to talk to my boss about that and see if he'll give me a card so that I can rent lights if I need to while I'm there, not try to pack all that stuff. Algorithm gods are not worth appeasing. I don't think it's worth it either. It's just weird to me. I guess it's just weird to me that my Xenogears review did as well as it did, and I was expecting that this video would perform not like up to the same level, but at least really well, because a lot of people who follow the channel followed through the Xenogears review, so anything Xenogears I figured would perform pretty well. But I don't know. I was expecting it to hit 20K views in the first week, and it didn't even get half of that, or it just barely hit half of that in the first week, or whatever it was. You're gonna eat some cheese curds? I might. We'll find out what they got there, right? Drake says, I feel this is a big leap, but you ever think about adding more hosts to the podcast to fill in the space for you when you or Kaysen don't want to do it? I considered for a while having 4 regular co-hosts that we would alternate between, right? So it was like the first week of every month it would be Lore Runner. Second week of every month it would be, I don't remember who else I sent out invitations to. I think Pelvic Gaming was one. Might have been Super Derek RPGs was one. And I can't remember the fourth one. Anyways, there was 4 people who I was going to make like regular, like returning guests that we would alternate each week unless we had like a special guest. But that didn't really work out. I can't remember exactly why. Scheduling was tough, and, you know, asking those people to be like a regular member of the thing, I don't know. Guess we could maybe ask someone from the community if they'd be up to it, like Jakob Bean. I am using Cubase Macadamia. Cubase with most of my instrument libraries are sourced through Contact 5, and I use mostly Spitfire Audio. There are a few that I want to add, a few new libraries I want to add, I think, before releasing this. I want some better brass. There's a couple of good Spitfire libraries that I want to pick up, and then there's some that are not Spitfire. They just released this BBC Symphony Orchestra, which sounds really good. So I'd like to, and it's not unreasonably priced either. Like, that's not bad. So like I'm thinking about grabbing that, but you know, I also want to get their hold on. For years I've been wanting to get their entire they just released the symphonic organ. That sounds awesome. I have all the Albion libraries. I use those already. Those are amazing. But I want to get these 3, but it's hard to. I mean, I wouldn't buy them separately. You can get them all together in a package called Spitfire Orchestra or something. Scoring professional. I don't know what that is. Anyways, Symphony Complete, I think, as the woodwinds, the brass, the strings. Oh, this comes with a lot more. Okay, so I wouldn't want this one because I already have Spitfire percussion. It's the one that comes with just these 3, and I think it's like 1,200 or something like that. Orchestra. It's called Spitfire Studio Orchestra Professional. This one, and it comes with the strings, the brass, and the woodwinds. This is the one. So I want to get that. I want to get the BBC, and I want to get another brass library from another company. And then I think I'll be ready to, like, it. Doing, like, regularly on the channel, doing, like, reorchestrations of RPG music and that kind of stuff. I think that'd be really cool for the channel. Have you ever seen Kind of Funny podcast? They switch people around every podcast. I haven't. That's the ex-IGN guys, right? Oh, what is it, like 4 guys on their team or something like that? Yeah, Lore Runner's really busy. He's very, very busy, so. See ya, Chris. Anyways. How have you found doing everything through MIDI? Is it a hassle? Not really. Let me open up a project. You won't be able to hear it because it uses a different, what do you call it? Driver for the sound. But I could probably just open it up and let you see what it looks like. Might take a while to open it because I'm running something like, I don't know, 300 or 400 gigs worth of instruments. So it takes a while to load it up. But I've used a lot of different DAWs, like a lot. I've used Melody Assistant. I've used Fruity Loops. I've used Reason 5. I've used Pro Tools and Logic. And at least for my money, Cubase is the best. It's the best by far. Fruity Loop is great. It's really, really great, especially for people like first getting started and learning how to use a DAW. Really, really good software to learn on. I did most of my learning on that and Reason. And then Logic Well, I mean, Logic is pretty. I mean, tons and tons and tons of people use it. It's like an industry standard, one of them. But I don't know. I just really liked Cubase. Cubase just clicked with me intuitively. It felt right. This is going to take a very long time to load. Going to take a very freaking long time to load. Getting more emails asking me to share the video. Okay, Carnell can see it now. Here we go. Well, apparently, Elite Dangerous is $9 right now. Too bad I have like 500 million other games I want to play, so I'm not going to take advantage of that. Alright. Got my emails cleaned up. This is going to take forever. It's going to take forever to open. Yeah, I don't like using Mac either. Which is why I didn't stick with Logic. We get Those Who Fight Further. Let's check it out. This is one of my favorite battle themes in the game. You know what? I think this guy is actually basing this on the arrangement from the Final Fantasy VII Remake trailers. It sounds very, very similar to that. In fact, let me pull that up real quick. FF7 Remake. Those Who Fight. Oh, wait. No, this isn't it. Battle theme. I thinking it's different. Is it just fighting? Yeah. So this is the remake's arrangement of this song. Anyways, that's that. So this sounds like it's based on that. I'll be honest, I like the clarity and a little better in this one. I feel like it's punchier. it sounds really good. A little choir in there, interesting. Yeah, this is excellent. This is really good. I gotta step my game up. I need to get a couple more brass libraries, though. My brass libraries just aren't up to snuff. Wow, this is taking super ridiculous long time to load. Holy shit. See, I'd love to get into doing this kind of thing on the channel, like once in a while, you know? I haven't played Persona 2. I've played a little bit of Persona 4. I really didn't like it. I do like the Shin Megami Tensei games that I've played, but I've not been the biggest fan of the Persona games I've played. I love this part. Good stuff, man. Learning the Final Fantasy VII main theme on piano right now. I remember learning how to play the Piano Collections version, probably around like 10 or 12 years ago. I sat down and practiced it every day, and I got pretty good at it. But it's been a while since I've tried to play it. Yeah, this dude's good. This dude's really good. This is still not loaded yet. Freaking nuts. See if I can play this again. Mine is still pretty muddy. Like the mix is still pretty muddy right now. I like my strings, but the brass I'm not a huge fan of. I may or may not keep that guitar depending on what libraries I pick up. We'll see. How does this guy not have subscribers? What's going on? It's Pontus Holtgren topic? Does this guy have like a website? Yeah, dude, pinch harmonics. I remember when, oh, here we go. It loaded finally. So, when I was learning how to play guitar, I was having the hardest time learning pinch harmonics. Like, people would explain it, and I just could never get it until I switched the way I hold the pick, like the position I hold it. When I switched the way I hold my pick, I could pull them off. And once I learned how to do it, it's like that's all I ever wanted to do was pinch harmonics. But sometimes I can overdo it with pinch harmonics, I admit. But I don't think you guys will be able to hear this. Isn't like fully loaded in anyways. If you guys like the guitar, I'll definitely keep it in there. I do think that at least the rhythm part, this part, gives it a bit of an edge that and a bit of an electric feel that I think is pretty faithful to just the original game's what do you call it? Tone? I don't know what to think. Oh, here's his website. Oh, here we go. Get One Winged Angel is here. This would be such a tough song to mix. He did a pretty good job. On a Final Fantasy X. Is this... Yeah. There we go. I'm gonna subscribe to this guy. But with my other channel. Riley Smith agrees. Anyways, I gotta subscribe to this guy after I'm done with the stream on my other channel. Yeah, you won't be able to hear it in the actual program because it uses a different audio driver, and I've never been able to actually get this to work on stream. I've tried a couple times, it doesn't work. Anyways, this is Cubase, and I really like it. You just kind of double click into here, and you know, I could play stuff and record. I got my keyboard here. All your instruments here on the left. Anytime you want to get into effects, it's just you click on the thing and it's just the E button, and you got all your effects you can put in there. You want to. Otherwise, you could just open it through Cubase. Sometimes they'll have reverb and other effects already on them. You can kind of use the knobs to get it where you want. But here. What am I not soloed on it? No, it's not working right now. I don't know why. Anyways. I like it. I like Cubase a lot. It's only $100 to get this version, which I think is like not the basic version or the pro version. It's the one in the middle. So the only hold up I have with this version is I can only have a certain number of tracks. It limits you to the number of tracks you can have in one project. The pro version lets you have like a ridiculous amount, like 90 something. But pretty much have access to everything else. And what I really needed anyway was Contact, which is where this is where I source all the VSTs through all my libraries here. Alicia's keys for piano, freaking amazing. I got all my Spitfire strings, percussion, a couple of other things, but I do want to add to this a bit before I get started doing this for real to like release, actually show to people, but gotta have money. A lot of money. It's very expensive. Right now I don't have it. You should also check out the soundtrack for Sonic Generations, one of the best VG soundtracks I've heard. Sonic Generations, huh? Let's take a look. Sonic Generations OST. Dig it so far. He's saying Planet Wisp. Fan of that bass, it's kicking. Yeah, I really like the bass. The groove is nice in this one. Yeah, this is great. This is freaking awesome. I like it. This game is supposed to be pretty good for a Sonic game, right? Like, I've heard that this and Sonic like Colors were two of the more recent Sonic games that were actually very good. Like 3D Sonic games that were really well made. Got Crisis City. I dig it. It's nice. Sonic Unleashed, isn't that like the newest one? I heard that game was not... Oh, wait, no, it isn't the newest one. What was the newest one? Okay, I remember actually watching the cutscene for this. It was crazy. The opening cutscene for this. Like, this was like nutso animation. Forces, Sonic Forces, yes. That's the one that came out around the same time as the other 2D one, right? And I played this game at E3 and I was like, oh wow, this is not good.
Eggman's forces are surging into the city! We need you here now!
Hold on, Tails, I'm on my way! We don't have time to lose. Better kick things up a notch.
Yeah, they had a demo for this at E3 the last year I went, and I remember playing it and being like, dude, I'm not even a Sonic player. Like, I don't play Sonic at all. So I shouldn't be good at this. And I was just, like, wiping the floor.
Man, look at the size of that thing. I guess all kinds of things show up when your neighborhood turns into a desert. You know it's gonna be a chore.
I think that voice for Sonic is pretty good, though. It was these parts when it goes side-scrolling. I was like, dude, so freaking easy. Like literally, I'm a terrible Sonic player. I'm so bad at those games, and this game was like cakewalk. Persona 2 track. Piece. Feels a little bit like a Shin Megami Tensei piece, which makes sense at this time at least. It hadn't really become its own thing necessarily yet. Fan. I like it. I like it. Anyways, probably not gonna get an answer back from the Japanese place yet because it's probably middle of the night there right now. But I have to get going to prepare for my flight tomorrow, going out of town. So I won't be able to stream tomorrow, unfortunately. But I'll be back on Monday. Well, actually, it might be Monday night. Let me check that real quick. When am I getting in on Monday? This is not it. Okay, so... Okay. I get into Milwaukee tomorrow at 10:44 p.m. I'm leaving on Monday the 23rd Ooh, it's a late flight. I'm leaving at 6:45 p.m., getting back at 9:06. So I will not be streaming on Monday either. I will not be here on Monday. So I'll be back on Tuesday. Thank you, Macadamia and Drake Chandler and everybody else who's watching. Appreciate you guys. And I'll see you again next week. Peace out.